Hello and welcome to Digital Illustration, a computer skills course made available through the West Lounge Computer Training Center. In this course, you will learn the basics of Digital Illustrator by building a holiday card. The course will include 3 lessons. The first lesson will cover setting up a brand new document so that you can build your card. The second lesson will cover designing your snowflake by using some of the design tools in Digital Illustrator. And in the final lesson, you will add type to the card and prepare it for printing. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we get started preparing the document to create our holiday card, I thought it would be important for us to look at the end result. You'll see here that this is a holiday card that's open-faced, and you'll see on one side there is a designed snowflake, and below it there is a greeting. So this is what we will be working toward in this video. So let's create a new document and set up the layout so that we can design our card. To do so, we will go to File, New, and that will open up a dialog box that asks for some information about how you want your document to look. We're going to choose under Profile, Print, because we are going to be creating a document that's going to be printed at the end. In addition, under Size, we want it to be letter. And I'm going to change the units from points to inches. I think most people are sort of more comfortable with using inches to measure documents. And we're going to leave it at 8.5 by 11. So if you see anything different, you would want to go in here and just enter in the information of 8.5 in inches and 11. The other thing you want to do is to make sure that the orientation is set to from Profile, which is the default, to Landscape. So click that, it becomes shaded, and now it's going to be in landscape. And then the rest can be left to the default settings. Click OK, and you have your brand new document. Now that we have our document created, the next thing we want to do is create the trim and score. This will allow us to identify where the design will be on the document and what we will be doing in terms of cutting it down to a 5 by 7. So to do that, I want to change one thing in the view. I want to be able to see the ruler so that I can see the sizing of the document. So I'm going to click on View, go down to Rulers, and click on Show Rulers. And you can see now that there is a ruler that shows from 0 to 11 because that's the 11 inches, and then this should be 8.5. So 8.5. There you go. Now we want to establish a grid and the trim and score. So the first thing we want to do is create a rectangle that is the exact size of the card when folded that we'll want, and that's going to be a 5 by 7. So if you go here and click on this rectangle and then click, it'll open up a dialog box so that you can enter the size you want. And again, we want 5 inches wide by 7, and then you click OK. And you can see here that you have a rectangle. What you want to do now is, because you're still in the rectangle, so you don't want to do anything else in rectangles, you want to go back to your Select tool. This will allow you to move this rectangle and put it in any position you want. So that's what we're going to do. So take your cursor, click and hold down, and now you can drag this to where you want it to be on the document. And I'm going to put it right about there. So that's 1/2. We've got a 5 by 7, which we want the size of the card to be. The next thing we want to do is create an exact copy of this. It's actually a pretty simple step. What you want to do is look at your keyboard and click on the Alt key and then hold that down, and you can see that the cursor's changed from just a black arrowhead to a black and white. That means that you can make a duplicate copy. So you're going to click on this and drag over, and you can see that now I have a blue line creating a second document. And if you hold down your Shift key, it'll keep it straight. You see the green line there. And then if you go all the way to the end here so that they're right next to each other, they're intersecting, and you can let go of everything, and now you have 2 rectangles. So this will be the front and this will be the back. So then what you want to do is you want to center this on the document so that you get the exact area where you want to set your grids. To do that, you're in your selection tool, you'll click and drag and capture both of the rectangles. And what I like to do is then go into right click and then go in and group these together so that it makes it one item, two rectangles but one item. And then up here you'll see that you have some options. This aligns what you have selected to the center, so I'm going to do that, and you see how that just moved a little bit. And then also I want to align it vertically. I'll click there, and because I had it sort of eyed pretty well, it didn't show much movement there. So now you can create the guides for your scoring and trim. To do that, you take your cursor and you just go above to where the ruler is, and you click and hold and you drag down, and you see how you have a line there. And we're going to go right to the top of the box there and let go. Now you have a light blue line. You're going to do it again and go down to the very bottom. You're going to go to the side now. You're going to click and go all the way to the end here. Do another click and do the center. And then you're going to do one more to the left side. Now that you have your guide set, you can get rid of the two rectangles because you won't need them any longer. So I'm going to click on here and select the, and then I'm going to click delete, and you're good. So now you have your guides set so that you'll know where to put things on the document and you don't have those two rectangles. Now let's give ourselves some easy guides so that we'll know where to cut the paper down to the 5x7 once we print it, and also the scoring so that we'll know where to fold it. So to do that, we're going to go over here and hover over this, and this is a line tool. We're going to click there so that we have that selected so that we can draw a line. There's a couple of things you want to do. So what we're going to go up here and we're going to hover over the guide so that it says guide, and then I'm going to hold down my shift key. I'm also going to click and drag down. And what that does is that creates a line, and then you're going to let go. That keeps it vertical. Now that you have your line, we can just do a couple of more by going back to our selection tool. And again, just like we did in the past, we're going to hover over the item, we're going to hold down our Alt key, and we're going to drag with our Shift held down as well, and that's going to drag over exactly to the middle line. We're going to let go. We're going to do that again by holding Alt and Shift, dragging so that it stays balanced, and letting go there. So now what we have are three lines. This will be where you score the edges, and this will be, this will be the score, and this is where you'll trim. Now what we want to do is do a horizontal. So again, we'll go back to the line tool, click and hold down Shift so that it stays even. We'll go back to our selection tool. We'll hold down our Alt key, drag that over here and put it over the blue here, and you'll see the green line appears when you've got it exactly aligned. Let go. Now you have 3 on the top, 2 on the side. We also need to do the bottom, so what I'm going to do is take my selection tool, I'm going to hold it down as I drag over, and that'll collect all 3 of those lines. Then all I have to do is, as I've been doing before, is make a copy of these. So I'm going to hold down the Alt, I'm going to click and drag, and you can see I have the 3 lines here. I want to keep them exactly even, but down here. So we're going to go down. We don't want it to intersect too much, but we want to get it there, let it go. And you'll see here that it's butting up against the grid, and we want it to go down just a little bit. So because you have it still selected, just click your arrow button, and that's going to lower it just a little bit so that we're off of the vertical guide, and we can unclick or deselect, and now they have it free. We're going to do it one more time, and this time we're going to be careful to only select the 2 here. We're also going to go here, wait for our cursor to not have, to just be the arrowhead rather than the complete arrow. See how that disappears? Hold the Alt, drag, make sure you're centered there, let go, and we want to go over just a little bit to the left with our arrow so that that's aligned. And there you have it. Now you have your trim and score. We also want to go over here to our layer, and let's name this trim and score because that's what this layer has. The best way to do that is to just hover over there and double click really quickly, and that opens up that highlights that area, and now you can write trim and score, press enter, and you're set. The final step in our first lesson is to save this document so that we can keep what we've done so far in case the computer crashes, and also if we don't have time to continue on now, we can keep this saved and return to it. So we're going to go up to File, we're going to do Save As. That's going to open up a dialog box that asks you where you want to save this. You want to make sure that where it says Save As Type, you do have an arrow in Options. You want it to say Adobe Illustrator. You don't want it to be a PDF. So then you'll go use the left window here to choose where you want to save it. I'm going to save it to the desktop for now. Then what I'm going to do is click on here because I'm going to rename this Holiday. Oops, didn't spell that right. Card. I already have one there, so I'm going to do space and 2. So Holiday Card 2. I'm going to click Save. I'm going to click OK here, and now you can see that I still have my document open, but I've saved a copy of it. And that's the end of lesson 1.